Welcome to Nittany Nation Overtime.
And welcome into Nittany Nation Overtime. I'm Jack Wascher filling in for Peter Tertia, who's still on his way back from Iowa City, joined by the Nitwits, Mark Brennan, Neil Rodell, and former Penn State quarterback Wally Richardson. Thanks so much for joining us, Wally.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
All right, big win last night. Penn State takes down Iowa on the road, ranked opponent, 17-12 the final. You were the only one of us that was there that had a media obligation. What was the environment like kind of after the final seconds tick to zero?
Well, I'd like to start by saying, hey, hi, hello.
Right.
Let's get that out of the way first. But listen, I think it's more important, Jack, to talk about what the atmosphere was like before the game. When you go to Iowa City, and Wally, you know this, Neil, you know this, I'm not sure if you've been there, Jack, but that is a legit home atmosphere. I mean, you are talking about, it's packed with great fans outside tailgating, and then once they get in the stadium, it's a great atmosphere. So I would preface everything we say about this game by saying any night game win at Iowa is a good win. And I also think the other side of it from Penn State is this team is showing that it could overcome adversity, even if it's creating some of the adversity itself, especially on offense, where it was kind of operating in fits and starts. At the end of the day, that offense came through with a key 4-minute drill and then kind of put the game to bed in the final minute and a half or so. So I think overall, a lot of good things. But again, there were some things with the offense that I think they really have to get straightened out moving forward. The offense has yet to really establish an identity. You're halfway through the season. You're undefeated, which is great, but you're going to need to get a little bit more consistent, a little bit more of an identity moving forward.
I like the hey, hi, hello. You beat me to it. What impressed me was that they're showing that they can win in different ways. I think they've established that they want to be a big play offense, and yet they beat Kirk Ferentz at his own game. They settled into a defensive, run-oriented special teams. Gillikin had a great night. The defense was tremendous. And they were sort of content to play field position. And it kind of showed me that this is becoming, granted, I think there are issues that they need to solve on offense still, but they became, and I would say any win at Iowa at night is a great win. I mean, and I just, I think they're showing maybe becoming more of a well-rounded football team than just relying on more big plays like they have the last couple of years.
Well, you're a former quarterback. Clifford's numbers aren't gaudy, but he made some throws and he made some plays that kind of let you know that he is not afraid of the primetime spotlight. Would you agree?
I would agree. Sean's had some great opportunities to make some plays, and he had a couple of nice runs last night. Made some throws when he had to, and that's what you need out of your quarterback, just being consistent. I think the more that he plays, he's going to do a better job moving forward.
You know what I like about him, and we've touched on this, obviously against Maryland, he was lights out. I mean, he was just, dominating the whole game. But he's had a few games this year where he struggled, especially early, and he did not let that get him down. I think that's the sign of a really good quarterback, because when you're playing in the Big Ten, it's not all going to be easy. And I think people tend to forget that there were times when Trace McSorley, even in the stretch where he was playing as well as he was later in his career, where he struggled. But what was the key with Trace McSorley? He always put them in position to win at the end of the game, and I think we're starting to see Sean Clifford develop that. When they really need plays, he's coming through with them.
Yeah, particularly the big 3rd and 10 run that put them right down in the red zone. And hey, we can't go too long without mentioning Noah Cain and what I know there's been a lot of discussion, we've had a lot of it, but hey, I think that it's really working out. 22 carries. And when he was supposed to be in there late, he was. When it was clear who should be in there, the rotation might have gone kind of sideways, and he's established himself at least as the best tailback at this point.
How about Blake Gillikin? I think the big thing, I think Franklin said, starting field position for Penn State was their own 34. Iowa's was the own 18. And Gillikin was a big reason why that. I think someone tweeted out, I think we had the tweet that Gillikin posted. Someone's like, I think my brain must be off or something like that. Or is Iowa always starting the ball inside the 10-yard line? And Blake Gillikin after the game goes, hate to see that. And I think that played a huge role. I mean, the defense we know is elite, but if you're forcing Iowa to go 90 yards against that elite defense, I think the combination of that is deadly.
Yeah, that's what you want, making a team go 90 yards, 85 yards, whatever the case may be, against a quality defense. That's hard to do, to string drives together. And people make mistakes. They're not where they're supposed to be. And our defense has done a really good job so far this year, and that's one of the strengths of our team. So it was good to see them play the way they did last night.
Yeah, do we need to say welcome back Blake Gillikin? Because that was, he hasn't shown that sort of consistency in a game. I can't recall for the last season and a half. And the really weird thing was he kind of got banged up. He got run into by his own player, and after that happened, he was kind of running around the sideline. We were wondering if he was going to come back. Stout was warming up, and then he comes in. That's a sign of a tremendous player, I think, that you get banged up and your team needs you, and you come back and you perform like that under pressure. But if he can keep this up through the end of the season, that's going to be a great weapon, especially, Wally, as you're saying, when you pair it with that defense, wow.
Yeah, he could have been really the player of the game if you would award it as such. Kane was mentioned, but how about Robert Windsor? I mean, at the beginning of the year, he said his goal was to be the best defensive tackle in the country, and I almost got whiplash. I mean, just because he hadn't necessarily shown that kind of pedigree up to now. But boy, he played one of the great defensive tackle games that we've seen for a while.
But don't you think that's a case of and Wally, you could speak to this probably better than anybody, but sooner or later, don't offensive linemen have to kind of pick their poison? So are you going to focus on those defensive ends? And if you do that, then what's going to happen? That's going to open it up for the D tackles, right?
Yeah, I mean, same offensively, like you're saying. Etor on the end, Shock on the end, those guys have been very good at rushing the passer this year, so you want to neutralize them and try to make somebody else. If you're going to beat us, these guys have to step up and do what they need to do. And Robert did an excellent job last night, just getting in there and pressuring the quarterback, getting some hits on him, doing what he needed to do. And it was a big boost for the defense to have him play like he did.
Franklin always preaches 1-0 every week. You were on the field. Did last night's win seem like a bigger deal than normal wins? He seemed fired up, going high-five and everything.
1.5-0.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's usually pretty fired up after every game when you're down there. And I know you're down there for all the home games. I think what he was really fired up with was that so many Penn State fans were still there, and I think he was drawing a lot of juice from that. So I don't think it was like this one specific game was great, but I think the atmosphere and the fact that they persevered there and that all those fans stayed and were like down by the field late in the game, I think that's what really got to them.
All right, coming up next on Nittany Nation, overtime. It wasn't a perfect game, but Penn State, they made some mistakes, but hey, the guys in the Zebras, they made some mistakes too. We'll talk about that next.
The determination, the practice, the teamwork, the touchdown. Bake Shop Bakes is ready to help you score big with family and friends, with fresh dumplings, breads, cookies, brownies, and so much more. And if you're not ready for something sweet, jumpstart your morning with us with a delicious sandwich or salad for lunch. At Bake Shop Bakes, there's always something new. Score big with Bake Shop Bakes.
Martin Oil Company delivers more than home heating oil, they deliver warmth. For over 50 years, your friends and neighbors have trusted Martin Oil for prompt delivery of premium heating oil. Call when you want fuel or enjoy the peace of mind that comes with automatic delivery. Whether your needs are residential or commercial, Martin Oil is always professional and reliable. Now, Martin Oil's $1,000 club for heating oil customers can earn you 3% interest plus deep discounts on fuel oil prices. Martin Oil Company, dependable as sunrise.
Now's the time to hit the trail in a new RAV4 and go big with model year-end savings. It's go time at Toyota. So take your adventures to a new level. Lease a RAV now for $239 a month, or buy with 1.9% APR, or get up to $1,000 total cash allowance. It's go time at Toyota. Visit your local dealer and test drive one today. Toyota, let's go places.
We call it the mother standard of care. It's how we bring real hope to our cancer patients. Like Viola. When she was diagnosed with breast cancer, her team at CTCA created a personalized care plan that treated her cancer and strengthened her spirit. So Viola could focus on her future, their future. This is how we inspire hope. This is how we heal. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Appointments available now.
Blaze Alexander Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Truck of State College is hosting the Ram Power Days, the Jeep Adventure Days, all rolled into one. If you're in the market for a Jeep, over 20% off. That's a possible savings of over $9,000 on brand new Jeeps. 2020 Jeep Gladiator, lift, wheels, tires. Check this one out. Over 50 new Rams in stock and many more on the way with 0% financing up to 60 months. So check us out at blazealexanderjeep.com or make that drive to Route 26 in State College. Because at Blaze Alexander Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, we're taking deals the other guys won't.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
All right, welcome back to Nittany Nation Overtime. There was a key moment in the game when Penn State got a turnover. They're in the red zone. They scored 3 touchdowns, and yet 0 of them counted. There was a couple that are like, all right, I get that, but the overturned Freiermuth call, I think, was the big one that I don't understand.
No
how
one
you
could believe it.
that.
I mean, you know, the announcers, video replay, all the fans. I mean, that was a touchdown, and the fact that it was ruled that way on the field, it should have remained. That was really a bad call, and I know there's been a lot written in the last day or so about the history of the referee with Penn State, but that was a bad one. I thought the holds generally were there. It just seemed very weird game for Penn State where everything went wrong with the officials at both goal lines because the other play with Reed's hold at the other end earlier in the second quarter was a big deal too.
Yeah, I think the issue is with John O'Neill is the official. He was also involved in a similar tight end play with Penn State at Nebraska in 2012. As soon as it's announced now that he is on a crew covering a Penn State game, fans on our message boards, fans on social media go crazy. And sometimes fans overreact, but then this happens and it's like, you're basically, confirming. I'm not saying he has anything against Penn State. What I am saying is when he's working these games, it's like something always is going to go wrong. What I can't believe is that you have a call that is called a touchdown on the field. That has to proactively be overturned. That's not a mistake on the field. Right. That's somebody looking at this stuff. And then to make matters worse, a pool reporter talked to a Big Ten rep, and they would only say that it was a judgment call. They wouldn't explain any of it. They wouldn't say who made the call. I mean, to me, that's a lack of transparency on the part of the officials, the Big Ten, everybody. They really have to take a look at that because, listen, I get if they get something wrong, great, but at least have the transparency to explain it to reporters through a pool reporter the way you're supposed to.
Well, no, they got a second and goal at the 1. And this bothers me with spread teams. I know it's the way the offense is designed, but how hard is it just for Clifford to go up under center?
They don't go
take the ball and literally lunge forward. I'm not asking you to lambast the coaching staff, but I know you played in the 90s, and I'm sure it bothers you when teams line up and they snap the ball 5 yards back.
You have 3 fullbacks behind them.
I think it would be nice to have that in the offense. It's not hard to learn how to take a snap, but we are who we are, and that's what we're doing. But I'd love to have that as part of our package because I think it would help us in some situations where we get people just going forward instead of having to wait to catch the snap and then give it to the back.
All I know is that when Joe Moorhead was at Fordham and they played Bucknell, there was one play where they messed up in that sort of situation, and that has had a lasting impact through how many different teams now.
Well, they were trying to take a knee.
Yeah,
and they were in a regular.
Yeah, I mean, like Sean, that's bringing down his rushing average because he's 4 yards back already catching the snap to do the victory.
And he looked like he wasn't sure what to do. Then he finally went down.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, in this kind of game, when so much goes against them in terms of the refs, what does it say about this team to overcome that and get a big time win on the road?
They're very resilient. I think they always talk about controlling the things that they can control, and they didn't get down. Sure, they were disappointed with some of the calls that went against them, but they rebounded, and that's what you need. I think, with our team being as young as it is, it's nice to see them being so resilient at a young age and not being afraid of the situation and not letting it be too big for them. They knew they were going into a really tough environment last night, and they kept battling through the adversity and keeping things going the way they needed to, and came out of there with the win. So I'm impressed with that.
And when you talk about controlling things, and you've talked a lot about the offensive line. Shout out to them, the way they took over the game. It's really one of the first times in a big situation they've melted the clock down, made the other guys use timeouts, made the key first down, and ended the game. A lot of times they've turned it back over to the defense and
give them another chance.
Well, I think that's big for the O-line and the coaching staff, because I think if you look at this team the last couple of years, it's struggled in those situations in some big games where it's blown leads, and this was another step in the right direction. You know, I think a clear sign that, number one, as you said, Neil, the O-line started to play better toward the end of the game, and number two, when this coaching staff gets into the offseason, it's not as if they're forgetting about what happened the previous season. They know, they self-scout, they understand where they have to get better, and it's a good sign that they did get better in that area.
All right, coming up next, leading up to the Iowa game, the talk wasn't really much about football, but about hair and how that galvanized this team to come even closer. That's next.
When I was in high school, I didn't even know what an engineer was. But I've always had a knack for taking things apart and putting them back together again. I was the first one in my family to go to college. So I really didn't have anyone to show me how an electrical engineer could help power entire communities. And that's why it's so important for me to be that person for someone else.
Jill has heart failure and a new place to explore. Jill has Entresto, a heart failure pill that helps keep people alive and out of the hospital. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren, or if you've had angioedema with an ACE or ARB. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto.
Where to next?
The Ford Motor Company has come a long way since 1939. Joel Confer has come a long way in the last 61 years, providing the best customer service. At Joel Confer Ford of Bellefonte, we have proudly been your source for the best selection of Ford Rangers. From Super Cabs and Crew Cabs, XLs, XLTs with every color to choose from. Down or upsize your truck with a new 2019 Ford Ranger. Discounts, rebates, and top trade-in allowances along with low interest rates await you at Joel Confer Ford of Bellefonte. Stop in today and drive home with an all-new 2019 Ford Ranger only at Joel Confer Ford of Bellefonte.
Over the years, some things have changed, and some things have remained the same. At Tyrone Milling, the customer still comes first. At Tyrone Milling, it's more than just about making feed. It's about building relationships and helping our neighbors. Thank you for being a part of the Tyrone Milling family.
I'm the event lady everyone calls to look legit. Soccer mom, 392 shirts, 26 teams. She shoots, she scores with collegiate pride. Husband's eclectic family reunion, men's, women's, and mischievous children's. Well, at least they looked nice. Company picnic, everything approved by Mr. Peter Picky Pants, who even loved the price. I know shirts. You should know collegiate pride.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
All right, welcome back to Nittany Nation Overtime. Before the game and leading up to this game, a lot of the attention was off the field with the letter to Jonathan Sutherland. And then before the game, Penn State had the shirts kind of in support. Was it in good taste? Was it not? But how do you guys think that Penn State kind of handled that whole situation this week?
Well, I thought James Franklin, in addressing it on Tuesday, before even being asked, that is James at his best, and I think it was well handled in that regard. It was a racially insensitive letter, and Penn State got ahead of that. Of course, it ran wild on social media. So I think they did a good job in that regard. Personally, seeing the shirts on Saturday, I thought maybe was not necessary, and I'm sure other people didn't think it should be because they collected them right away. But I thought on Tuesday sending the message of a united front was good.
Yeah, I'm not sure the shirts were necessary either, especially when you talk about James Franklin, the way he handled it, the way Jonathan Sutherland handled it. I thought he was fantastic, and the way the players at the press conference, Fries and Parsons, they all really represented themselves very well. Listen, to me, you could talk about hair length or tattoos or whatever. Let's talk about graduation rate. Let's talk about how few players are getting in trouble. You want to knock on wood if you're a Penn State fan. Talk about the big picture stuff and don't worry about this other stuff.
Well, I mean, what does something like that kind of do to a team?
Well, you care about your teammates. So when one guy hurts, all of them hurt. So I'm glad that they stood behind Jonathan. But like I said, like you said, it was addressed earlier in the week, and at this point, I just don't want any distractions for our football team. They just need to limit the distractions and keep playing on and let their play speak for what they want to say.
All right, and quickly, Penn State was on HBO this week. 24/7 came in, all access. One big takeaway from each of you. Mine was Sean Spencer on the back of a motorcycle. That will never get old for me.
I think that's Penn State wants to be out front. James likes that national exposure. He's good at it. I think the program was well done and gave people a unique view, some of which they hadn't seen.
I don't think they could have done a better recruiting video themselves. I don't think they could have done a better hour-long recruiting video themselves. Even with some of the rough edges, a little bit of profanity here and there, it showed that they were human. And I just really thought it painted everything in a really good light. Wally, you live it. You're in the middle of that program every day. Tell us, is that authentic? Is that?
It's authentic. I mean, those guys, what you see is what you get. So, I thought the program was nicely done, and people get to see what happens during the course of a weekend, big-time college football.
I'm glad there were no media people involved.
You drove your car down here, not your motorcycle.
I don't ride.
All right, coming up next, it is officially Michigan week. It's also the Whiteout week. And Coach Franklin, well, he's calling on the fans for Saturday night. That's next.
Are you tired of being stuck in traffic? Gas too expensive?
Wow, that guy looks miserable. I'm glad I take the bus.
Well, then Amtran is for you. With plenty of bus stops around the city, we can get you where you need to go. And with our new My Fare card, no need to worry about having the exact change. Do yourself a favor and start riding the bus. Visit us online to see where Amtran can take you.
From birthday parties, corporate events, or even a night out at Taste Buds Kitchen, we have all the ingredients you need for a memorable time. We offer classes that'll develop your cooking skills and create an engaging culinary experience. Our challenges and cook-offs will have you and your friends talking for days. Come join our culinary playground. Plan your next event at Taste Buds Kitchen today.
From small group gatherings to large wedding receptions, the Jaffa Shrine Center has everything you're looking for. Jaffa Shrine rooms are universal and can be tailored to fit your needs. We offer accommodations for small parties, reunions, and business meetings. The Jaffa Shrine Center also provides in-house catering and offers a wide array of menu items, making your planning even easier. Contact Heather Chesney and discover what the Jaffa Shrine Center can do for you.
Fairlife is the milk that gives you more. It's ultra filtered for 50% more protein and 50% less sugar. Bring more to the table with Fairlife ultra filtered milk.
Ready to go when you are.
Wow, you look nice. Getting around isn't as easy as it used to be. That's why we called Bath Fitter. They removed our old tub and installed a beautiful new spacious shower. Now, getting in and out is a breeze. And we have peace of mind with seamless walls that provide a watertight fit, plus their lifetime guarantee. Thanks to Bath Fitter, life is so much easier with a shower we love.
Call today for this month's offer.
When you're injured on the job, it's overwhelming. How will you support your family when you can't work? At Edgar Snyder & Associates, we have a workers' compensation department dedicated exclusively to getting you the benefits you deserve. How do we do that? With experience, with resources, and with a track record of results. We assign a 3-person team to support every client, an attorney, paralegal, and legal assistant. Our promise is to put our clients first. For a free consultation, call 1-800-9-4-EDGAR. We're your workers' compensation lawyers.
J&P Auto Mart, that's where I should have gone. You can find them on the web at jnpautomart.com. J&P Auto Mart, that's where I'm gonna go. Call 1-800-567-6940.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
next week, we need that stadium and that town rocking like it's never rocked before. I'm talking about like vibrating. I'm talking about what's it called when there's a earthquake? Seismic is a good word. Talking about it being a seismic event for the entire weekend.
Seismic, that's going to be the word of the week as Penn State now gets ready for Michigan. Our nitwit of the week to my right, Mr. Mark Brennan, by a point.
I'll
Neil's
take
not
it.
too happy. Here are the updated standings. Peter, Neil, and Mark all tied at 2.
Pressure's on the guest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the floor, Mark.
Wow,
Penn State taking on Michigan. Whiteout game. What are we looking for here?
Yeah, Michigan just doesn't, it seems to be such an up and down team this year. Really struggled offensively against Iowa, but played well defensively. And it comes back against Illinois, gets a big lead and kind of gives it up. You know, I think the fact that Josh Gaddis is the OC there, Penn State knows a lot about what he's going to bring to the table. I look for Penn State to win this game relatively handily. I'm going to go 24-13 Penn State.
Okay.
Neil?
I'm using my my addition by
No
subtraction.
calculator.
Yeah. You know what? I think Penn State's big on motivation, and you know, although Michigan beat them by 35 last year, Penn State was in a similar situation in 16-17 when they turned that around, a big lopsided loss in Ann Arbor. Michigan, I don't know what to make of it. Did not look like a Michigan team against Wisconsin. They can line up and jam the ball at you, but I just don't have a lot of faith in them. I see it also. I'm going to say Penn State 27, Michigan 14.
Dealing with the alumni this week probably is not easy for you, Wally, but give us a prediction on the game.
Well, I think we are going to be ready to go 1-0. That's what Coach preaches, so they'll be ready to go. They're excited about the night game, and I'm going to say we'll win 31-12.
All right.
Wow.
And I think Penn State, the last 3 years, it's been blowout, blowout, blowout. And the coaches, they're well aware of what happened the game before. I think Penn State wins this one big. I'm thinking 49-3. I'm thinking they absolutely embarrass Harbaugh to the point where it is. I think
you should have to come back next week regardless.
I'm telling you, I think Franklin and
If
Harbaugh,
he hits it, Peter can't come back.
Hey, hi, hello.
Yeah,
goodbye.
I honestly think I don't think Michigan is that good. I think we've seen that they're easily exposed. I think under that environment, a whiteout atmosphere, this defense is so good. Michigan's offense barely could score 10 points against a competent defense. I don't see it.
Hey, real quick, Wally was Jim Harbaugh's backup in Baltimore with the Ravens. How about that?
Yes, I was. Jim is an interesting guy. He's an interesting guy, so I'd love for us to do what we need to do this week and get that W.
You going to call him up this week?
Nah, leave him alone. He's got bigger fish to fry than talking to me.
All right. Well, Peter will be back unless I get the score right. That's going to do it for Nittany Nation Overtime. We'll be back after the Michigan game. Hopefully Penn State moving on undefeated and looking ahead to Michigan State. We'll see you then.